Hello, I'm Rob with Federal Finance CPE. Not too long ago, I was just like you, a federal accountant, confident in my controls, trusting my information systems, and doing what I've always done. I pulled reports, I made decisions, I signed off on things. Day after day, everything seemed fine. I was living in what I would like to call the trust bubble, the comfortable place where we assume our data is complete and accurate, because, well, it's always been. But sometimes the universe has other plans. My wake-up call came on what seemed like an ordinary workday. I just started a new position, fresh from auditing federal financial statements, and I was tasked with something simple: create an analysis based off a subledger. Now, it had been drilled into me. You always agree your subledger to your trial balance. Basic stuff, right? In auditing, this is one of the first things you learn. You make sure you have complete and accurate data before you start working. So, I ran that comparison. And something was wrong. Really wrong. My subledger did not agree to my trial balance. That moment, that discrepancy staring back at me from my screen, was my call to adventure. I could have ignored it, maybe explained it away, assumed it was a glitch. Who would notice, right? Move on with my analysis. But something told me to dig deeper. So I went down the rabbit hole. I started questioning things. How is this report created? What are the parameters used? What are the tables used? What am I actually looking at when I click subledger? And that's when I discovered the truth that changed everything. The role that me and everybody else in my group had been using for months, maybe years, actually excluded a few organizations within the overall entity I worked with. So when you ran the subledgers, you never saw those balances associated with those groups. Now, everyone had been operating this control before me, had assumed they were working with complete data, but they were not. In that moment, I realized I wasn't just looking at a data discrepancy. I was staring at a fundamental flaw in how many of us, including myself, approached controls. We trust, we assume, and we accept reports as gospel. And that trust, it was putting everything at risk because we didn't know when the data was incomplete or inaccurate. This discovery forced me to confront the hard truth that my audit training had tried to teach me. Controls are not just processes. They're decisions based on information. And if that information is flawed, then every subsequent decision is also at risk. It's like building your house on quicksand. Here's what I learned the hard way. In the entire universe of information, we only use what's relevant for our specific control and the decision we need to make. But here's the critical part. We need to verify that slice of information we're using is complete and accurate. This is what we call information used in controls, or IUCs, and it's become the hottest topic of internal controls and OMB A123 assessments because every organization everywhere is discovering what I discovered that day. They're operating in the trust bubble. Now, I'll be honest, once I understood the problem, I went through what I call maybe a validation panic. How many other controls were affected? How do you even begin to verify data across your entire organization? But here's what I discovered. You do not have to boil the ocean. You just need to have a systematic approach. First, get specific about what you actually use. Go through your controls. That journal entry report might have dozens of fields, but the control you operate might only care about the JV number and making sure it's in sequence without anything skipped, so you know that your journal voucher population is complete. Focus on what matters to your decision. Second, validate before you operate. If it's a system report, document your reliance on IT general controls. And know the health of your general controls. If it's a manual process, build validation steps. You just cannot say, I accept as is. That's unacceptable. Third, make your process repeatable. If somebody new walked into your role tomorrow, could they follow your steps to validate? Could they prove data integrity in the same way you do? This framework didn't just solve my immediate problem, it transformed how I approach every control going forward. I went from a reactive to proactive stance. I go from trusting to verifying, from vulnerable to protected. Now, here's the thing about discovering something important. You just can't keep it to yourself. Right now, there are professionals sitting where I was sitting, living in that same trust bubble, one discrepancy away from their own wake-up call. So let me ask you, what's your morning going to look like? Are you going to pull that reconciliation report, that forecast, that accrual estimate, and just trust it? Or are you going to verify it? Think about the top 3 controls right now, the ones that matter the most to you. Can you prove your information is complete and accurate? Can you document your validation processes? If you hesitated, even for 1 second, you're in the trust bubble. Let's get you out of there. Look, I've made mistakes, so you don't have to. The federal accounting world is getting more complex, but you don't have to navigate it alone. You can learn from my journey. If you want to hear more about my journey and other internal controls mishaps I've had over the years and how I've solved them, please click the link below, get on my email list, and I'll send you various trainings and thoughts that I have about training, federal accounting, federal internal controls assessment, and just in general, working for the government. Because your morning doesn't have to be a wake-up call. It can be just another day when your controls work exactly as they should. Thanks for watching.